Great TVZ just seems to be something we can't get rid of. Just a matchup that keeps on delivering lately with some great players playing in all of these different events. Today, a matchup from the Kung Fu Cup. As in the bottom right side, our blue Zerg is Solar, taking on channel favorite in the top left, the Red Terran, INnoVation. Hello, everybody. Of course, if you are watching this out on YouTube, hi. This is one of those times where I do a cast on stream, but I do it with the intention of uploading to YouTube, so I take the opportunity to open the game by saying hello to you guys. And of course, reminding you about the wonderful ability to hit that like button, to subscribe and help us towards that 20,000 subscriber mark, and to, of course, comment down below, tell me how much you hate me going on about this. Because, Wardy, it's 52 seconds in the game, and you've not even mentioned anything about what's happening. I know, guys, don't worry. So, Rack's dropping down as we get that started, and we do have the refinery dropping down from INnoVation in the early stages here on Simulacrum. Not sure what round of the Kung Fu Cup is on. It's not like one of the late rounds, it was one of the early rounds, so best of 3 TVZ. Always fun in the Kung Fu Cup that the early rounds have some of these crazy good matches early on. Not so fun when you get to like the semi-finals and all the favorites have been knocked out by each other, but it makes for like fun early on. We didn't actually get to cast the Kung Fu Cup the other day because I was doing the TSL Korean qualifier. So we weren't able to really join that at any point, and so hence why we have got this for the YouTube cast, basically. So, yeah. That's what's going on. That's why we've got this one for you guys coming up as a special. We do have our SCV making its way off down to the bottom right side. A little bit of looking to see just what will happen in the next couple of moments as the hatchery finishes up onto the natural. There's nothing too crazy here. This is not a pool first, it's just hatch first, and that's all INnoVation wants to see with this SCV. Knows he doesn't have to worry too much about this Reaper staying at home. Knows he doesn't have to worry too much about looking for Zerglings here or there. As we do have our Reaper continuing down to the bottom right side. So we'll get in here. The Ling's already up though, and we'll not be able to do too much in terms of denying drones or anything, or getting too much damage on anything. Obviously, we're just waiting for this Queen to finish up so that then we can try and get that Creep Tumor down. He does get one Zergling already. Not a bad start. Then the Queen pops out. Reaper would like to get out of there and regen a bit. He's not going to contest the Creep Tumor. So he comes up and checks the third hatchery. Creep Tumor will come down at the front right away, but the Queen is far enough forwards to deflect the Reaper, so it will not get in. And on top of that, and INnoVation just taking the third CC already, so he's going to go straight into the third command center. With that third command center already coming up, gives him the opportunity to just play a very strong macro game, of course, and doesn't really need to apply too much pressure here, there, or anywhere. Just needs to, you know, build up the eco, not die to anything in particular. We'll see what he does off the starport. He's actually going to bring the barracks forwards and going to kill this Overlord that isn't actually there. So it's so funny. This has been a thing kind of lately in TVZ where Terrans started to do this, and I feel like usually it's one of those things where Terrans start to do this and they're like, oh yeah, they start killing Overlords, and Zergs take like a few days and they realize it. This was one of those trends that Zergs realized like instantly, and now I feel like every time they pull a barracks over to the front, there's never an Overlord there. So they're not going too far forwards with this Overlord, and yeah, this is kind of funny because I actually feel like this had already died off in terms of fashion because everyone started doing it for like 2 or 3 days, and it just never worked. Like, there was just no Overlords there, so everyone stopped doing it. INnoVation tries it again here now, but does not really make anything happen with this. As the Reaper makes its way out to the bottom side. Going to go in toward the main base in the next couple moments and look to try and deal some damage if you can. Obviously, the main goal is to try and get some scouting information, which will not happen with those Lings running in so quickly. Just goes into the Cloak Banshees afterwards then, so keeps him very safe on these 3 bases, gives him a good setup and potential to deal some damage as well. As with Solar scouting in right now, he's going to see, okay, you know, Starport, Cloak, all building, so Solar knows roughly that these Banshees are going to be on the way out. He starts up a lair in response to that, so we'll get the Overseers ready to make sure he can defend these Banshees with ease, really minimize the damage that he takes. As you do have a couple Creep Tumors still pressing out the frontier in a couple different directions, I'm sure. As the Cloak is going to be done very soon. Stimpack is continuing out, and the Racks down in the reactor now. The rest of this from INnoVation out into the center of the map, and the few queens still just pressing forwards. A couple of creep tumors are already pushing out. Can he deny these? Looks like he'll get both of them. That's a really nice catch, obviously. And can he get around here for this one? I think it's too big of a wraparound. It's kind of close. Just doesn't make it there in time. So does get the new creep tumors that built here again. So actually that does work out still in the end. Doesn't get all of them, but able to get the rebuilt ones. I mean, that's always a nice little something. As Hellions coming up this ramp, the Queen's taking some damage. INnoVation, where are those Banshees at? They've just been waiting to join up together, and they will come across the map. At the same time, Hellions fighting against these Queens. Banshees continuing to the bottom right side. Spy, a couple of Evolution Chambers continuing through. Stim Pack and 1-1 upgrades all coming out as well. So just getting that set up as a couple of these extra racks will drop down in the main base of INnoVation. So getting that started up here. There's the Banshees coming through, getting a couple kills. And the Ling's taking a few shots there as well. Queens will continue out, and the Banshees getting pushed away. And there is our hatchery from Solar now down. He's actually going to come in, and a lot of these Hellions dealing a lot of damage. So a lot of Lings going down now as we see our Hellions and continue being picked away at. Hellions will just not quite go down yet. One remains alive. This bad boy has 13 kills on him, so he's having a very good time. The Banshees did get in. They got a single drone. Not much, though. Mostly Lings that they've killed off, so nothing crazy from the Banshees. Overall, good defense from Solar. I mean, it is nice to get rid of that many Lings, obviously, and I think that many Lings, it's almost worthwhile even kind of losing the Hellions, because you've got to make so many of those Lings again to then defend this attack. And obviously, the Hellions in this attack would be looking to pick off Lings in that sort of manner anyways, right? So you can kind of get behind that, as this push is just going to look for some initial creep clear in, grabs an Overseer, and that maybe makes those Banshees have a little bit more potential. As the creep tumors go down, he gets a new Overseer build, and now he'll target down the first Mutalisk. Really good start from INnoVation, actually. From all of the creep clearing to picking off a Mutalisk, the Overseer as well. Feels like there's some really good damage. He gets a second Mutalisk. Hey, that's really nice. As he comes back down, will he get one more? He gets a third Mutalisk. INnoVation's running wild at the moment. And Solar taking some mega damage. Well, I'm just going to be seeing tanks and marines coming back down to the low ground. As INnoVation's drop obviously does get cleaned up, but the damage you got from that was absolutely fantastic, of course. The teacher upgrades now on the way from INnoVation in the back of the natural as well. CC at the front. This factory going to finish up and build a reactor, so he's already going into the double factory. Widowmine production, drilling claws is well underway. Ready to play against this Lingbear Mutastar. Really just has been INnoVation in this early game. He's even going to cancel a 5th base here with these Banshees and then cloaks up, and there's no Overseer. You've got to be kidding me. When the 2 health Banshee runs away because there's no Overseer with the Mutalisks, that is a pain. That really sucks, as you do see the couple Banshees out on the bottom side. 5th hatch is going to try and rebuild again. If these mutas, they can't find the Banshees. Are they going to go for the hatch again, or are they going to go for drones elsewhere? I actually kind of like the hatch, because these Banshee, one of them is very low, so it just dies to 1 queen shot. He's going to come around the back of this base here. Takes the loss pretty much right away, but in the end, he's going to still get a few drones. That's 3, 4, 5. This obviously is still pretty nice, as the Banshee will just give itself up. Will finally go down. Maybe even could have had 1 more drone. Great from INnoVation again. The harassment of this game has been on point, and you know, again, you look at the resources lost. It's just that little bit of a lead for Inno, but you know you've also slowed the Zerg down a few times over when they didn't want to be slowed down. What is going to be interesting is the fact that there's a lot of creep on the map, and so INnoVation will have to fight through that at some stage. And that will be Solar's one of Solar's big advantages, right? Being able to dig deep on creep and just really utilize that in his defense and really use that to get himself back into a game which otherwise he's not looking so hot in. And he's going to press forwards, and they're going to go and start getting some of these creep tumors. I mean, it's going to be a multiple kind of... You know, it's going to take a little while, right? It's going to be a real effort here from INnoVation to clean up all of this. And look how much of it continues forwards in the center of the map as well. A couple of libs on the way out, and now building into Thor also, really getting up that Mutalisk defense. and get to like 4 or 6 Liberators, you really do start to deal that splash damage to the Mutalisks, which really just makes them unable to really commit to any sort of fight if they're stacked up in it. And obviously Mutalisks in the fights have tendencies to just get stacked up and to then not have a very good time at all, as Marines will continue to push forwards here. Quite a lot of creep teamers are going down already. So a lot of this creep being cleaned out and continue to just push forwards. We'll find, well, again, like plenty of creep so far. A lot of Lings of Solo around the top side. Another couple of creep teamers going down. Queen's getting picked off. Riddler's going to join up with those Zerglings. He's still, again, pushing out onto the creep spread. More creep teamers going down. The Banes come crashing in. Marines and Marauders dropping. Now, Lings and Mutas are kind of flying through here. The couple of Liberators coming in and try and do it again. With only the 2 Liberators, it's not that scary. But if you get to maybe 4 is a little low as well. But if you get to, like I said, 6 or 8, you really start to dig deep and put that damage onto them. It really makes life difficult. Now, all of that said, Solo has found his way onto Hive. I mean, that's part of the safety that the creep gives him, that he's not afraid of dying in the next couple moments. So he gets up to Hive, he gets Ultra Cavern on the way. 3-3 start with the Adrenal Glands. Solo is going to make it to this next stage of the game where he would generally start to have a bit of a better time. So let's see how that goes. A couple of Marauders here got to the front very quickly, and now INnoVation is already building more Liberators, but also bringing Marauders into his army. Solo's going to go for a big counterattack, but immediately there's just going to be units there to cover, and that counterattack does not achieve much at all. Lings and Banes running through a lot of the bio from INnoVation, stimming down the bottom. Another big hit. Widowmine hit, actually. I say another. It's actually probably the first of this game, really. 16 kills on it. Connected very well indeed. As fours lift up, they pull back. INnoVation staying maxed out as he takes these skirmishes. With the Lings and the Banes back over the right-hand side, and just seeing the Mutalisks still overhead. The counterattack got turned away, and since then, Solo has not made any other attempt to get back across the map, which could be nice. Pull INnoVation back a little bit once more. Give you some freedom on this base. Maybe try and get some creep teamers up. Get some creep out to the left-hand side, because that's obviously missing at the moment. Lings and the Banes still pressing through the bio, continue to pull backwards. Couple of Thors in the front. Here's Widowmines lining up. Big connections from the Widowmines. Widowmines do a fantastic job of this, as Riddler's still running forwards. The Liberators having to pull back. And the creep spread still just pushing to the top side of the map. So a lot of creep coming around the top here, as our Mutalisks will be all the way to the top side of this, all the way to the north. A couple of extra Ultras on the way out, plus 3 melee, plus 3 carapace. Chitin is playing, all coming into play, with the Mutas ready to turn and go after some of these supply depots. Supply depots being picked away at. 1, 2. Already going down. Ling's going to start streaming into this. And this is a nice opening, right? This is nice for Solo. I feel like this is what he needed a little bit more of before now. We're going to see this Bio Force coming straight in. A lot of drones and a lot of trouble very quickly. With the hatchery going down, it's a win for INnoVation that he's been fighting for quite a long time now. Not the end of the world for Solo. He still has a 5th base in the top right of the map that he can use. The Muta's looking to not cut off reinforcements. In fact, they're just heading down to the bottom left base. So he's looking to try and deal some damage to INnoVation's 5th base as Liberators continue forwards. Marauders in the front, picking off a Zergling hatchery, taking some hits. There we go. Lings and Banes running forwards here. The Marauders looking good. A lot of these Lings taking a lot of damage. Widowmines kind of going off here, there, and everywhere. In the bottom left, the Mutas are just, no, what are you doing? Fighting Marines, absolutely not what you want to be doing. Solo's starting to get into a bit of a tough spot now. INnoVation is the one with money on his side, work account advantage. In fact, INnoVation is looking great. He's going to kill a Queen here with this Liberator. Maybe it would have been better to get drones. Either way, still picking up kills. Neo Steel armor coming up, so his buildings are safer. And obviously with the Mutalist count now, well, down to 5. That's no longer a real threat on the map, so Solo loses one of his real weapons that could have really maybe kept him in this, and has been keeping him in it, right? Like, the Mutas have created some great counter-attacking opportunities that have given him some good damage. Pushing down the bottom side, INnoVation looking to fight. I do see more Lingbane Corruptor in the center. The mines going off. The Marines continue to set up this high ground here as the Banes continue to roll up. Ultras pushing through. INnoVation with the Ultras there will have to back away, and Solo somewhat wins this fight, but of course INnoVation has money in the bank. Love the changeling play. Really cute changeling play to try and trap these units in and stop them retreating as easily. And now he's coming in for these medevacs. He will get 2 of the 3. Will he get the one with the units inside of it? He will before INnoVation unloads. Now Solo is up on the top left-hand side. There's also a couple of Marines heading across the top right. Nothing too serious there just yet, but these Ultras on top of production. Liberators will start a siege. The Corruptors will come in to fight those. Walks into a Widow Mine. Somehow doesn't hit the Ultra. Actually, I really thought these Liberators would go down to Corruptors by now, but apparently not, as Widow Mines just waltz into the top right-hand side mineral line. INnoVation needs to burrow those up at some stage. He needs to do something with them. Burrows the one, and the other one will go off as well, so well handled here by Solo. INnoVation still with a lot of money in the bank, but not quite putting it to use. I mean, he has the production structures for it. He's on 10 barracks. Just needs to get a couple of rounds of production out. He'll be maxed out anyways. Attempting to take base number 6 up here, and that's going to be Solo on top of it before INnoVation can really get it established at all. So Solo continues to deny bases, and that's what he needs. He cannot let INnoVation mine from too many bases here, because it's already been a bit of a rough game from Solo, but overall resources lost isn't that bad. So if he just stays like a base up or keeps mining where INnoVation is not, just a little bit, he's probably still alright to stay in this. He is struggling though, because as he loses these meters to gain, he's just on this army that doesn't seem to have much momentum at all at the moment, right? Still collecting out on the, up on the top side. Ling's Bane still morphing in. Trying to bring this to the top. Another Widow Mine going off. It really feels like Solo doesn't have any of the run buys or the economy denial on the Terran that he needs. And again, the efficiency has kind of not been there for the Terran either, so maybe it's not as necessary. It just feels like INnoVation will always be able to set up these fights, these counters, and these are all things which, you know, is dealing good damage to Solo. And what's Solo doing in return? Well, he's just kind of sitting here and taking this damage. And he's not really doing anything at all to stop it. Continuing to push forwards. This hatchery taking some more hits. Lings and Banes rolling in. Obviously, the Ultra's trying to get on top of this too, but the Widow Mines are dangerous. The Liberators are dangerous. We'll drop up into the main base. INnoVation is still with money in the bank. Solo's just going to go through this. He wants to try and break this position down, but again, you're left with, what, a couple Ultras surviving because they've got Queen transfusions? Missile turrets galore means that the Corruptors can't really come into this fight either to clean up the Liberators ahead of time. There's a few more reinforcements actually into the center. They will get cut by Lings and Ultras on the bottom side. Or into the middle there. Able to pick that Ultra off, so that will go down. This Ultra going to get this missile turret as well. Ultra also dies. And still pushing forwards here. Lings and Banes coming through. A couple of Marauders going down. There's going to be one more Ultras that gets picked off. Still, this army of Solo just trying to do anything. Trying to find economy damage. The Widow Mine's hitting very low HP Corruptors. And Solo's just going to bleed out as INnoVation did a little bit too much here. Able to put himself in a good position. Able to put himself into a good lead in the game. And really just played it out well, to the point where he's just taking base after base after base, and Solo just can't stop those bases coming up. I think that's always going to be an issue for the Zerg play. If you can't stop those bases coming up, where are you ever going to get your advantage in the game from when you're playing like a Ling Bane, and Ling Bane Muta, Ling Bane Ultra style? Well, that's meant to be your advantage, is taking bases over your opponent and shutting down your opponent's bases, but Solo was too far behind to do that, so eventually he knows he has to keep on attacking, and so again, eventually he bleeds out, and it ain't pretty, as INnoVation ends up taking game 1 of the series. Resuming this series in the bottom left side of Zen, we start on our red Zerg player. We hiccup our way through the introduction of the red Zerg player, Solar, from Triumphant Song Gaming. Top right, our blue Terran player is INnoVation. Game 2 of this best of 3 series. INnoVation playing a great game number 1 to get us started there. As Drone comes to have a check for proxies already, so Solo just being a little bit careful. Isn't completely believing that INnoVation wouldn't proxy Raxum in this. As you will have the hatchery dropping down. So hatchery into the natural expansion here. Gets that started up. And yeah, Rax just building in the main. Nothing too crazy right from the get-go on Zen, of course. Zen is this map which gives the Terran, I feel like, a lot of options. It really is a a map where there's a lot of ledges, there's a lot of positions that tanks can be very powerful from, you know, siege down here, fire up to this high ground. And if you can start getting into abusive positions, you know, down here as well, right? You siege up these tanks here and firing up into the main base, dropping to support it. If you can start getting into those positions, it's very powerful. I mean, I feel like once the Zerg gets enough map control and gets their creep out, it's then very difficult to get those positions, but it does mean that the early game is so important because you can't give INnoVation that slight advantage. If you give INnoVation the slightest advantage, those positions are going to become so much more difficult to defend. And if they become way more difficult to defend, well, then you're just not going to have a good time, right? Then you make your whole life like 10 times harder. Marine on the way up from INnoVation here, as we do just have the Reaper already moving across the Marine just for some safety. This is another, well, this time it is an SCV scout from INnoVation as well, so it is an SCV scout. Just builds that Marine just in case a couple lings make their way over. Of course, can also be used to deflect the Overlord and so on. Reaper just sat here dealing damage, man. Sat here putting out hits. Lings all had to run out up into the main base, and we'll be backing away. Reaper's actually going to be able to come around here, so wants to really check if there's something aggressive coming. Zen is this map, which is pretty short, so if you can get in and see the gas and see it's not mining enough to build roaches, that would be really like a thumbs up from INnoVation. You know, the sort of innovation, the sort of information that INnoVation could use. He does go double gas this time. It's not really a 3cc 1 gas map. So this time, Starport, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cloak Banshees again necessarily. But also, you know, we could absolutely see just something like a Liberator and Stim Pack going into that bio nice and quickly. Let's see what the Rax wants to do with the Tech Lab. Looks like he wants to keep it, but he might just be waiting for the Starport to finish to play swapsies. That's the Queen. Very nearly getting that Reaper. Not quite, not quite. It is going to be a Liberator though, and so we will just be seeing the Liberator Hellion Opener. Again, this gives you nice fast stim, pretty good pressure on the map, especially depending on how well you use the Lib. The Lib on this map's interesting though, because I don't feel like it's the best map for the Liberator. There's not a lot of positions. Like, obviously you've got some dead airspace here, but then you're never able to kind of go from behind one mineral line to behind the other very easily without kind of exposing yourself to queens. Unlike on some other maps where you can kind of go from the natural to the third, and you can kind of siege up behind one mineral line to the next without ever being in any trouble or taking any damage. So, I'm not, you know, Zen's not, don't get me wrong, Zen's not a bad map for this. I mean, I don't think any map's really bad for this. It's just such a standard opener, but it's not the most abusable map when it comes to Liberator play, or kind of any sort of air play, and going from mineral line to mineral line. As you see, the couple of Hellions out in the center. Our Stim Pack setting up is about halfway done, and just see now a couple of evolution chambers from Solar continue to build now as well. So he's going to go into the upgrades early this time, so he will be without a fast alert, and will not be on any sort of faster balance speed. Obviously without the Cloak Banshees in play from INnoVation, it's obviously fine without the Overseers. Looks like he did get the Scout in to see that, and maybe as part of his decision to go for the upgrades as the priority early on in this game. There's our Liberator, sieges up for 2 drones, and like I said, you can kind of come back here now. I guess you can kind of come around here and then get toward the third base. Queens do come out and show themselves to defend against the few Hellions there in the center, so they will get pushed back very quickly. Stim Pack about to complete from INnoVation. The Reactor still building on the Starport. That's the Liberator trying to get back in the main, but the Spore is quick to turn that Liberator back around. 7 drones in production. Lib sieges and the drones pull away instantly. 2 drones already knocked down there, and the Spore comes in again, deals a bit more damage. He actually went double Liberator. It's a build you don't see as much. It's obviously a lot of gas investment. 2 Starport units can slow down some of your follow-ups. Did he just go? Already has Stim, right? Yeah, Stim finishes so early with this build. It always catches me off guard. I kind of like the double Lib, you know, it's fun. They're both still alive. They're both still going to give you some aggressive options. Hellion's still alive out on the map as well, and his 1-1 combat shields and the first tanks and medevacs are coming out. Definitely feels like it's going to be pushing time for INnoVation very soon. Solar, well, he will match on upgrades here, but he will have that kind of time where he's going to be on no lair or no lair tech. He'll have the lair, but he won't have the benefits from it, right? He won't have Aspire, or he won't have Baneling speed. So we'll see. I think Baneling speed being the biggest factor of this. We'll see how he approaches that. I suppose we'll see how he approaches this as well in terms of, does he want to go for a Hydralisk Den, or does he want to go for that Spire? Marine's going to load up, and what is interesting here is this is not just Marines, but a tank inside as well. Talked a little bit earlier about utilizing the ledges on this map. Maybe we're about to see a little bit of that, because he's also heading straight down the bottom. Doesn't look like he's going for any of these fresher bases, which is oftentimes the pushing direction for the third or for the first two medevacs, our third or the fourth base. Instead, just coming down here, and he's going to siege that tank up on this bottom side. So he is going to get these Marines into the main. Stem combat shields are now about to be 1-1 finished as well. He is actually down an upgrade at the moment, taking this initial fight, but there's nothing that can fight the siege tank off. The Hellions are here to protect the siege. This is actually amazing. Hellions can morph into Hellbats. You can actually use these to protect the tank on the low ground and even really power up the attack at the main. Next two medevacs on the way across, and Solar is feeling very rough for him, because the longer you let the INnoVation set up into this fort, the better it's going to turn out to be, right? These few Marines load up, go back to the low ground, just letting the tank do the work. Picking up a lot of damage over time here whenever those units are just coming into range. +2 attack and +2 armor from INnoVation on the way out. A few more Marines unloading in the main here and getting ready to push forwards. Tank firing. Swarkcrawler taking a lot of hits. Lings and Banes wanting to try run back into this now, and the Queens coming into this as well. Bane's taking that little bit of extra damage. Here we have at the right-hand side more units just coming down the bottom. Solar's going to go for a massive counterattack. So he's going to bust through these depots. I mean, I like this plan, right? Because if INnoVation is sending everything across the map to deal damage in a position you just can't fight, but why fight him there? Why not fight him across the map? Beautiful. Oh, beautiful little choke point there for INnoVation. And didn't actually get busted down as quickly as I thought by those Banes. They didn't go for the Marines. They went onto the CC. He does kill the fourth base, but now there's a secondary wall anyways. So there's only so far these Lings can go. Yes, he's going to deny the third base. That will be basically it. Solar also, by the way, right now floating a lot of money. 1,500 minerals, but not the lava to spend it. He's not injecting the main base as we're talking here. And that's obviously a lot of little things that add up, right? Not being able to spend that money would really hurt. And these tanks have just been crazy all the way throughout this. 9 kills, 35 kills in the first tank that was placed. He's going to go up to 36 already, getting some shots off here. As these Lings and Banes run in, these Marines look like they've not even been touched. Continue to be healed up by these medevacs. I mean, I really wish we had like a units healed stat for medevacs, because I feel like it'd be kind of crazy right now. The Bane's crashing in. Hero Siege Tank gets to 52 kills, still alive. 54 kills. Siege Tank is not going down. I thought he was going to die as all the Banes came in, but not all of them reached him to deal the damage. And our tank is still alive and looking good. Man, Solar is in a world of trouble. You realize his spawning pool is moments away from going down, so he's already rebuilding a new one. Lings will counterattack again, and well, this time feels like INnoVation has been a little bit more cautious, leaving units at home to make sure you can defend, so those Lings really won't do much at all. The +2 carapace helps them trade a little bit better than expected, but in the end, they're just not dealing any damage. Now 2-2's about to be done from INnoVation, so upgrade lead from Inno as he takes the attack upgrade lead. That advantage is obviously a pretty serious one. Pulling back again, these tanks still firing away. 64 kills on this siege tank, guys. How ridiculous. How often do you see that? 64 kills. And counting, right? I mean, it's still there, and it doesn't seem as though Solar's going to be doing anything about it at this point. It just seems as though he's going to be... Oh, 69 kills! Okay, the game can end now, guys. Please, let this siege tank be eternalized as a meme forever. You know you want to leave the game, Solar. Well, he's countering. He might not send more Lings into the siege tanks. Oh, no, it got to 70. Feels bad, man. The meme dream is ruined. A few Lings and Queens pressing forwards. These Marines going to come back. A lot of this unloading in the main as we see our Queens taking a lot of hits. Marines continuing forwards. Queens is going down one after the other here. I mean, we kind of expected this, right? I mean, Solar's been in a pretty rough position for a very long time. 75 kills. I mean, now are we gunning for 100 kills? Is that what we're cheering for? No, he's going to die! Oh my god, the other tanks got sick of me talking about him. This guy has 52 kills as well. Yeah, no wonder he blew his friend up. He's like, shut up about this guy. I've also done some work here, Wardy. This INnoVation just is able to shut this down. Shut this entire series down. Actually just looked good throughout, right? Just felt as though Solo was never in any sort of control in this best of 3. From game 1 through to game 2, just feels like I was just talking like... It feels like I was just saying, INnoVation! 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 Craziness. INnoVation takes it 2-0, and thanks so much for watching today, guys. Of course, you're watching on the YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Much appreciated. And have a great rest of your day. Hope you did enjoy this beautiful TVZ with INnoVation winning out.